Hello, welcome back to the tour and my painting thereof. So we're into stage 2 now, and so far it's been both eventful and uneventful, but this is one of the American riders on one of the American teams. I think Trek Segafredo is also an American team, but this is Neilson Powless, who I painted yesterday, claiming the Maillot at Pois, the pink jersey, which is given to the rider who gets over the most climbs first, or amasses the most points going over climbs. And the Team EF had announced that it was one of their goals to have this jersey. So while yesterday, in a crash that ended the hopes of two team leaders, their team leader, Carapaz, Colombian champion, and the movie starter rider, Enrico Mas. One got off the bike with concussion. It is better now that they actually pay a little more attention to concussions, have a protocol on the side of the road. So Enrico Mas was not allowed to restart. Carapaz did restart. There was an image of him trying to press his knee back together. Turned out he got stitches in his knee and had a fracture of the kneecap. But he went ahead and rode them remaining 20 some miles, losing 15 minutes to everybody else. But I mean, there's always memes that come out talking about, how tough cyclists are, really hurt, pretending not to be so they can keep riding. But as many point out, that's because when compared to footballers who will roll around claiming to be in bitter pain, it's not that the footballers are any weaker. It's to the team's advantage. It gives everybody a rest if they feign being injured and call for help. And of course, the reverse is true of the peloton. It's better for the team if the riders keep going. So they do, if at all possible. So they're on a climb, and part of my idea here. So earlier in the day, Neilson Powless joined a breakaway. It was one rider, and another rider came up and joined up with them. So at one point it was 3, but now he just dropped Edvard Bosenhagen, who had been with him. Excuse me. And so he's off on his own, but like most of the tour, you're rarely alone on the side of the road, because there are tons of screaming fans. It seems to have been a huge number in the Basque region for the first 2 days of this tour. I'm sure that will continue into the Pyrenees. This is what they call the southern Basque region, which is in Spain by national borders, but not considered to be part of Spain. Much has been commented on the fact that have yet to see a single Spanish flag, but seen thousands of Basque flags all along the side of the road. So in the previous paintings, if you've seen that white cross with a green X behind it, looking a little bit like a British flag, but green, red, and white. That's the Basque flag. It doesn't appear in this painting, but we'll call this Never Really Alone. So Powless has done, now that he's alone, he'll certainly gain, where's my brush? There it is. Get the last, be the first over this second to last climb. Speculation is that he probably won't be off the front for the final climb, partially because there is a bonus seconds to be awarded, and the leaders are gonna want to pick those up. It's 8 seconds. And as Vingegaard, mainly talking about the fact that he was a few seconds behind, pointed out that this race will be won or lost by a lot more than 4 seconds or 8 seconds. But that being said, Greg LeMond, the only American who still stands as a winner on the record books of the Tour, won a Tour by 8 seconds. So, quite literally, every second matters. So it's to be expected that there will be the leaders of the Tour will be vying to gain these points. Sorry, I kind of, this is a little difficult. I hope you'll appreciate that, to talk about what's going on and paint it at the same time. So I am working through my palette again, going warm to cool, light to dark. And so that helps me keep the colors cleaner, more pure of color. Another, not only are the Basque flags, but the color for the Basque is orange, so there's a lot of orange t-shirts. There was a Basque team, so they've sort of started a new version of the team, Euskadel Euskadi, and their kit was always orange. And the Basque do aspire to separate and make their own country. Now the Basque region straddles Spain and France. So the southern Basque region, where we're racing now, is in the borders of Spain, and then we will cross into the northern region, which will be in the borders of France. One of the things that has been mentioned, and I think it's true, and I put in one of my tweets earlier, had retweeted something put out by the Tour de France organizers to, respect the riders, give them room. We're thrilled you're out here. We're thrilled you're enjoying the race. But please give the riders them to do what they need to do. And it seems to be that, at least in this region, there have been very few near misses. Of course, most famously, I think 2 years ago, was the woman who stood in front with a sign saying hi to her grandparents. That ended up taking out a whole lot of tour hopefuls. She just didn't realize how close and how fast the peloton was moving, and that's often what happens. Is people just don't realize just what speed these guys are capable of. I mean, honestly, I've had trouble with that, and I'm not particularly fast with cars. I just don't realize just how fast cyclists are capable of going. So she was standing there trying to get the picture as the camera went by, and ended up taking out a lot of the peloton, pretty seriously injuring a number of riders and ending the tour hopes of quite a few. So where I was going with that is that the fans, even here, you can see they're all leaning in, but there's plenty of open road available for Neilson to get on with his job. And of course, you know, they're here to watch him do his job, so it's not in their interest to interfere with him either. Oftentimes you'll see fans on the mountain stages reaching out and pushing their heroes, which can actually get the rider disqualified if it's considered to be too much of an advantageous thing for that particular cyclist. If basically if he wasn't getting pushed, would he still be in the race? So now I'm just about finished with everything but the road surface. Sorry while I stop and think. Here, I want to get that. This guy has a very pronounced watch. Oh, and then this is one little detail. So the bib numbers say which rider is which. They actually have their name written right there. And then the yellow is the LCL, the sponsoring the yellow jersey, Credit Lyonnais. And then the bottom is the other sponsor of the tour, and apparently it's not doing well enough then because I can't remember who it is. So that sponsorship isn't paying the dividends they may be hoping it would. So now again, I'm making these marks to follow the curve. So my brush is following the curve of the road just to help reinforce that bend, and just in case there's any start and stops of brush marks, it will further amplify the direction of things here. The last thing I want to do is define that white a little more. Now, of course, you leave, well, whoops. So the sponsors of the polka dot jersey is Leclerc, and their logo is orange and blue. So 2 of the dots in the jersey are orange and blue. Almost forgot that. So what I was about to do when I saw that was just give this white a little bit of shading with just a light wash of blue. And there you go. So that's that piece. Never really alone, because with very few exceptions, the riders are never alone, even if they're out on their own, like Neilson is now. So thanks for taking the time to watch. Hope you enjoy this. All this artwork will be available for sale, not just this piece, but all the stuff I'm doing for the tour, at my website, gregleach.com. And then I do post everything and write about the paintings and the racing at my blog, theartofcycling.blogspot.com. And, follow me on Twitter, Art of Cycling, and Instagram, Greg Artist, so you can see all this stuff happening in real time. Thanks for taking the time to watch. Give it a like, thumbs up, follow so you can see each one of these paintings as they come. 21 stages of the tour, this is number 2, and then 8 stages of the tour Femme. So there's plenty more to come.